Good morning to those waking up, good night to those going to sleep, good afternoon to those maybe eating their lunch, and good evening to those maybe sat at home eating their dinner. We have got a further update from Genuine Labs. That's why I'm getting this video out so early for you all this morning, to keep you up to date on this situation as it's evolving. So let's take a quick look at this post, which was put out around 4 hours ago directly from Genuine Labs. So dear LUNC community, over the last few days you haven't seen us active on social media and other platforms, but rest assured work is being carried out. We are only focused on working diligently to provide you a product of excellence. We want to address that our latest proposal that is up for voting is not the proposal we intended to launch, as it carries an error. So please vote no or disregard it. After community feedback, we will be testing tax to gas on RebelNet and upgrade with the most recent patch to address most concerns that have been brought forward by fellow community members. After tax to gas is implemented, a spend proposal will go up for vote following current PBJ guidelines. We apologize in advance for the delayed response and thank you for your continued support. So I think this is a really interesting turn of events. I personally think they were probing, and I don't think they liked the response that they got, and I think this has put them on the spot, and maybe they've realized they can't pull the wool over our eyes. But do not distort things, because there was a validator that has voted yes, being Interstellar Lounge, with a substantial amount of voting power, being 5%-ish, I think. So with that, you need to understand that there are a lot of people who will blindly follow Genuine Labs down any road that they go. And I don't ever want to see the chain in a position again where it has to bend to something like Terra Rebels, which was a complete centralized body, and the fruits of their labor was a Discord group and a Terra Classic lottery system. I just don't ever want us to find ourselves in that position again where we're pinned up against the wall, and as we get rid of one horrible team, another one tries to take over. So it's good to see them rectify the decision that they've made, because I personally still have issues with the way the communication's being handled currently on chain, and I understand exactly why some people think it's not an issue, and I understand why some people think that I'm doing this because I feel like I should have got the position. My personal perspective is nobody on this chain deserves that position, nor should they have it, because it puts them in a position where they have a substantial conflict of interest and they can benefit from that position in a positive way. And we are seeing that currently. And the best way for me to really explain things to you is to give you something to look at whilst I explain it, to really lay things out. And what we see so many times is generalization. So currently the argument is very summarized together, and we're seeing people arguing 3 points all of the time, when really what we need to do is split those points down into 3 exact things. One being KYC issues, the next one being centralized communication, and then tax to gas issues. So we can remove tax to gas issues and we are left with 2 issues. And because we are not generalizing these 2 issues, we can go at them head on. We know that there's issues with KYC, and we know that we can deal with this at a later stage. We've rectified tax to gas, and what is causing friction still in the community is the centralized communication. So to understand the centralized communication, you need to understand the history of how Genuine Labs came to be. And Vegas brought them on through Notional Labs and Jacob Gallican, and they became Genuine Labs. And this was at the same time when I and Strafe created TCC, being Terra Classic Coalition, and then myself stepping back from that position as to leave it in a decentralized manner, because I had a substantial conflict of interest and I could benefit from such a position, which was totally unfair for this community. So when Vegas was in charge of Genuine Labs as the communication point, he was very decentralized, and myself and Vegas have not always seen eye to eye at times we have been friends and we are friends now. But like I said, we haven't always seen eye to eye, but he was at least decentralized. He would talk to the community. He would talk to CEXs and DEXs. He would speak to content creators, validators. If there was something we needed to know about upgrade handling, you would get that information from Vegas. Projects that need to communicate with Genuine Labs. This is such an important point. And then also devs, quants, analysts, and so much more, and so many more positions and people that are involved in this decentralized ecosystem. And when you introduce a centralized bottleneck, it starts to bring up all of these inherent issues. And it's been problematic for some time. So Vegas lost control of Genuine Labs and Diamond Hands took over control. And since that point, we've seen a complete cutoff of information. This has led to developers like Frag being absolutely crucified for speaking out against Genuine Labs and their work ethics, and the same with Strafe Cole, and they've both removed themselves from their duties and responsibilities on chain. So it is going to be interesting to see how GL get on without those two who have been absolutely instrumental, as I've mentioned many times on this channel, with all of the upgrades this chain has been through and all of the different validators that have needed help with upgrades in the past. And it is sad to see us get to this point where there is a central body of control that is hoarding all of the information, controlling all of the spaces, and ensuring that they're removing all of their competition. And they're completely biased. I'm completely biased. And there's so many other people that are completely biased. We need someone who is not part of this blockchain, doesn't have a validator, doesn't create content, doesn't have anything to gain from the position, and is really neutral and keeps everything decentralized. Because when communication is centralized, like I've explained, it means that that single entity can control the flow of information. It can influence or manipulate the message. It can filter what is communicated, and it can prioritize certain perspectives over others. In a decentralized ecosystem, the goal is to minimize the risk of a single point of control. And this does include communication, and it's really important. It's really vital. Everyone should have an equal opportunity to contribute to discussions, make decisions, and influence outcomes. Centralizing communications contradicts the principle of what this chain stands for, and it will lead to a power imbalance. Then it leads to friction, and then it leads to loads of different people standing out and standing firm on it. It shouldn't be okay for a one group whilst it's not okay for another group. So centralized communication is always going to lack transparency. They're going to portray the image that they want to portray on their terms, and they will distort it, they'll withhold things, and they'll electively share what they deem is worthy of sharing with who they wish to share it with. Decentralization is always going to thrive on trust and transparency. By ensuring that that communication is open and accessible, it's going to allow for all participants to be involved. It's going to lead to unbiased information. It's going to build trust in the ecosystem as a whole. So I just don't understand how anybody can think that this is a positive thing and that there's not repercussions and side effects that are currently in play and are leading to two big figures that this chain is heavily relied on, simply just stepping back and saying, you know, enough is enough at this point. So once again, it is interesting to see how GL has handled this and to see that they've backtracked so quickly on the matter. But once again, seeing how poor the communication is, and that is going to have a severe effect on projects, upgrade handling, validators, content creators, CEXs, DEXs, you, the community, any devs, quants, analysts, for example, like the USTC repeg team, right? You've got this good development team that's starting to falter in a couple of different places, which can be easily remedied, like they remedied the tax to gas. They could easily remedy this situation, and I, as a validator, would support another small paycheck on top of what they're already taking to attribute another person to specifically handle the decentralized communication that this blockchain needs in order to thrive and push forward. So I do hope you got some good information from this video. I hope I didn't babble on too much. I just stand really firm on this point. Aside that, stay safe, stay humble, stay aware, and as always, I'll catch you in the next one.